Now remember the horses that have been running away, which started with one horse getting into anxiety or panicking. Well, if the other horses are our physical body responding to the input of the brain, that one horse, it's not just the parasympathetic nervous system that can help to stop that anxiety train. It is also our entire body. We can use our physiology to calm our brain, our mind down. Remember what I said before, that when we are anxious, through the release of stress hormones, the body responds. The breath goes up, the heart rate goes up, our tension goes up. So by doing the opposite, really calming your body down, it feeds back to your brain that maybe there is nothing to worry about. Maybe we don't have to run. Maybe things are okay. And I mean, with my horses, I know when they are running, if one stops, which is the oldest and the wisest horse, and just said, you know what? This grass looks too good to be passed by. I'm just going to put my nose down and I'm going to eat a little bit. All of a sudden, all the others stop as well. It's like one has to take the lead to get out of the frenzy and the others follow. And so that is what we can do with the body as well. So, for example, if you think about breathing as a very common and often used way to get out of anxiety, what happens is not only that you are stimulating again the parasympathetic nervous system, but that you're also through taking the approach of using the breath that you usually would have when you're relaxed, so that you can feed back to your mind nothing to worry about. We are not going into this fast breathing of panic. It does make the brain feel like, let's just have another look. Maybe nothing to worry about. And, there are so many ways to breathe. There is the simple inhaling and exhaling for 5 or 6 seconds equally. There is the inhaling, holding your breath, and then exhaling, and then holding your breath again, the box breathing, and then inhaling. You can find the breath that works for you. Try out different ones, but always see the breath not something that only comes from your chest, but that also involves the diaphragm, and with that, the belly. So many of us are so conscious or self-conscious about our physique. We don't want to have a belly, and so we don't want to do the belly breathing, because when you inhale, your belly goes out, and when you exhale, you pull the navel back in. But it's really the healthiest way of breathing. It adds to the way your whole system receives oxygen and releases all that, what your body doesn't need anymore. So use the belly breathing, maybe in the comfort of your own bedroom, but do it and practice it again to get into this mindset of, when my breath is slow, I feel calm. I feel more relaxed. My thoughts are actually slowing down. So that's one thing. Another one that is really effective is your body posture. Have you ever noticed that when you're anxious, your body posture changes? You may feel more tense. Your shoulders may go up, or maybe you feel your shoulders go forward as if you want to become smaller and hide out, and your face becomes all tensed up, and you may have frown lines on your face, and your lips become very tiny, and you just notice there is a physiology that your body takes on based on the anxiety. And that's not a physiology usually of being relaxed or confident or just feeling good about yourself. No, that is the opposite. So if you are now choosing to go into a physiology that feels confidence, so shoulders back, maybe you have a little smile on your face, maybe you put your hands on your heart and just give yourself a little hug, or some people do the victory stance and just put their fist in the air, and some others do something like a little happy dance, even though there is nothing to be happy about. But again, it's a physiology that is supposed to confuse the mind and get it out of the pattern of spinning into this anxiety, and instead seeing like, oh, okay, I guess we're dancing now. I guess we're smiling now. I guess we are feeling good about ourselves now. And that is countering that often unnecessary anxiety response. And it does put the brakes on. And you have just to realize that there is a perfect moment to do this. It's not necessarily when you feel already so much in a panic that you're ready to go to the hospital. It's actually before. It's before, when you just notice, oh, that snowball of anxiety is getting a little bit too big. So let's step back and do something to regulate myself. So physiology is a very powerful leverage for that. So again, changing your body posture, using your breath, or doing something like a tense and release of your physical body. So you can simply just lay down and lay on your back, for example, which is really good also for this, what I mentioned before, the parasympathetic nervous system. So you have your shoulders back on the ground, you do your breathing, and then you start progressive muscle relaxation, where you basically start with tensing up a part of your body. Let's say you're pulling up your shoulders, holding the tension for 5 seconds while you're laying down. And then with a sigh of relief, you let the shoulders go, let the tension go, and relax. And then you move on to the upper arms and lower arms. You can go through your entire body, just gently, but really with the tension in your awareness. Again, a tense and release. Go through your system and show your body, I can let go of any tension because I'm in control, which then again feeds back to your mind. Oh, I guess we are letting go of tension, meaning we can be relaxed, meaning we don't have to be anxious. It's a fabulous method also when you're just at the end of the day feeling a little overwhelmed or still spinning because you have been working really hard or stuck in traffic or in difficult conversations, or were in the rabbit hole of social media and coming out spinning around yourself. So stop it all, lay on your back, shoulders ideally on the hard surface, and do exactly what I told you. Breathing, tensing up the muscles, relaxing with a sigh of relief. And then do this again. You can even tense up your facial muscles, really tense, and holding it for about 5 seconds or a little bit longer, and then releasing. Afterwards, you're gonna feel relaxed and sleepy, like a kitten. It's really, really amazing. And again, it gets better and better the more often you use it. It's just one of those wonderful tools that is available to you that you want to use and you want to master. Because the name of the game is to master your mind so that you can master yourself, and then you can master your life. And this is where our mind, unfortunately, often is on its own. It's just doing what it does to keep us safe because, as we talked about in the first and second session, it just tries to protect you. It doesn't realize that you're in charge and that it can trust you. Now, one of the things that I feel is so powerful about all the things I right now shared with you is that our brain, as beautiful and powerful it is, it's also very limited. And it does not do very well with multitasking. So if you give your brain something else to focus on, something that really is kind of immersive, it does shift away from whatever it has been seeing before and focuses more on that. I mean, we know that, right? You're working on something, and then, a colleague or a friend or your spouse or partner or whatever comes in and asks you a question. And just by asking the question and you pay attention to the question, anything that you have been worked on goes away, because right now all your brain is focusing on is that other person or that other task. You can use this to your advantage, by realizing when I tell my brain to focus on that physiology of mine. For example, as simple as just noticing the senses. I'm going to notice how what I smell right now. I'm going to notice 3 things or 5 things I see, 3 things I hear. I'm going to notice some taste in my mouth. I'm going to notice maybe my fingers rubbing together, or I'm noticing right now the hard surface I'm laying on. If you just bring your mind to that focus, it lets go on the of the anxiety focus. It basically cannot hold on to whatever spin out mode it has been, because there is another thing to focus on, another thing to pay attention to. And they have done this very successfully with people that were in chronic pain due to burn victims that sometimes had 60-70% of their body in a wound because of an accident, and you can imagine how painful that is. But there is also only a limitation on how much morphine or other medication on we can give someone to combat the pain. So some very smart people came up with the idea to use the easily distractiveness of our brain to its benefit, and developed a virtual reality game which was called Snow World, where basically people just play a video game where they are in the snow, where it's cold, throwing snowballs, wrestling with a snowman, you name it, just being for 20-30 minutes completely in that world. And their pain sensation went dramatically down, and their need for more pain medication decreased. It was very, very successful. And because they had fun and they were not always bracing themselves for that next discomfort, their healing also, the parasympathetic nervous system, was much more active. And overall, it was is a very successful addition to the healing path. And I think we can use that to our benefit as well. Now, some of you may say, great, so whenever I'm anxious, I'm going to play video games. Now, the problem with the video games that you may be thinking of is that they are usually designed to stimulate your brain more, to get you into more of a stress response, because that's part of the fun, whether you're, driving race cars or playing a shoot-up game. It is not relaxing. It's not like, oh, I'm going to play, yoga. No, you don't do that when you play video games. Usually not. So it's not the best way to calm down your mind. Focus more on that, what you can focus on. The burn victims didn't want to focus on their body because it's a body that hurts. You can focus on your body by getting your body into a relaxed state, and use this relaxed state to feedback relaxed sensations to your brain. I believe that being in the present moment is one of the most powerful counterbalancing efforts we can make to anxiety. And this, for me personally, is not only my body, but it's also petting a cat, or feeding my horses a carrot, or being in nature and just, taking it all in. And again, this is completely hijacking your brain to focusing on something very peaceful. And that in itself can help you a lot with slowing down and reducing the anxiety when it has been coming up. So the body really is your landing pad to get into the present moment. Use it, because anxiety is usually about the future or the past or something we're imagining or making assumptions about. It's not really about the here and now. So this enormous landing pad, this enormous ability of the body just to have us focus on what's real, what we can feel, sense, and ultimately is here and now. we are not taking enough advantage of that. And I think besides all the physiology and the changes I described, I think this shifting the mind through the body into the present moment, that is a very, very powerful tool to manage anxiety as it has been coming up. And I can tell this 100 times more, but practice being present. You can practice it through mindfulness, but I'm going to talk about mindfulness a little bit more in a moment. But whatever you do, just practice being present as a way to build this soft landing pad for your mind to always come back to when it has been spinning out with worry, insecurity, or anxiety. Hi, Dr. Friedemann here. Thank you for tuning into my YouTube channel. If you're interested in learning more about fear and anxiety, here you'll find guided meditations, webinars, and interviews with some of the most renowned experts in the field of empowerment. Delve into the over 230 videos and more to come every week.